there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make this really easy gift tag that's perfect for a gift for anybody, but it's really great if you need a card for a guy, because I know it's easy to fall back on the pink and flowers and pretty stuff. This way you can make a neat card for a guy too. Just, you know, use the stamps and the inks and stuff you have on hand to replicate the look. We're going to start with a shipping tag, and this one is smaller than the ones I usually use. I think it's called a number 4, but let me just give you the size here. It's about less than 2.5 by just under 5 inches. And then I'm using the stamp by Inkadinkadoo, but you can use whatever you want. Anything that has, like, I would stick, if you're trying to do a card for a guy, I would try to, like, maybe something architectural, or maybe something with text, something bold though, because we're going to use some embossing powder. Alright, so I've just inked this up with pigment ink, and I'm using just like this is just like almost like a peach color. It's actually called cinnamon, but it's just like a very, very light peachy color, basically because I want to be able to see my design. It's not really going to show through with the embossing powder, but I want to make sure that that I can see it. So I'm giving it a pretty firm press because I'm working on this mat, and I typically don't stamp on this. I want to make sure it gets a good impression, and that's not too bad. Now I'm just going to throw a piece of scratch paper down, and I am going to put on some embossing powder. And this is an old, I actually got this at a yard sale, and I was kind of curious. That's the reason I used it on the tag. I wanted to make sure it was still good. It's a tapestry embossing powder, and this one is by, oh goodness, do they say? I don't even see it on here. Who the maker? Personal Stamp Exchange, so gosh, this is really old. I just want to make sure you want to pour more than, you know, go with more than you need, because this can go right back in the container. Okay, let me just set that there for a second, and I'll show you what I mean. I just bend the paper and I pour it right back in, just like so. That way you don't waste any. And there's plenty. Embossing powder lasts a really long time. That's, I mean, it takes a long time to use it up. Then you probably want to get a soft brush, just a small brush, and if you see any little bits of powder where it shouldn't be, just kind of gently wipe it away with a paintbrush. I probably should have used my, you know, my baby powder pouch on this. I got a hair on this brush for some reason. It's probably a hot glue string. And there, that's, so I've got this coated with powder, and this is what it should look like when it's coated with powder. It's not shiny yet. Now we're going to heat this with an embossing gun, and I'm going to leave the camera rolling while I do this, because often when I pause the camera during the embossing, people are confused of how long it takes. Now this is not going to be a shiny embossing powder. This is very much like a distress embossing powder. These tapestry ones are kind of textured and vintage looking, and they have like usually flecks of different colors in them. So this was a rust tapestry, and I also have a woven one. I have some other ones I really want to try out. I was happy that they weren't spoiled, because I bought them at a yard sale from this stamp store owner that was getting out of the hobby. And since it's a Personal Stamp Exchange embossing powder, I mean, they haven't been in business for many years, so, you know, we're looking at probably, you know, late 90s product. It seems to be that embossing powder in New England lasts pretty well. It seems like embossing powder that's down south, for some reason, seems to go bad quicker. I've heard that just from the information that I've gotten from you guys telling me, like, you've had powder going bad. So this is what you get. You can see like flecks. Well, I don't know if you can see it on camera. I'm going to try to slowly tilt it. You can see flecks of gold and rust and copper and a little bit of green. It's just pretty. It's very subtle. All right, I'm going to grab my scratch paper again. And I am going to, first I'm going to really make sure that I don't have any powder left on that, because I hate getting embossing powder on my ink pads. Yeah, it came off pretty well. And I'm just going to ink it up, and I'm going to use tumbled glass. Did you guys see the new Distress ink color that's coming out, that pistachio? That's really pretty, I have to say. I don't have very many colors. This one is one of my favorites, and I have the re-inker for it. I'm just very loose and rough here, just adding some ink. And then I want to use this Wild Honey, which is another one of my favorites. It's a very rugged yellow, kind of like a yellow ochre. But go ahead, use any dye-based ink you have. The dye-based is not going to stick to the embossing powder, and it's going to show through, and it's going to look nice. And like, I didn't have I thought I had a brown. I thought I had like a vintage photo, but I guess I don't. I must have just thought I had that. Either that, or I misplaced it, or lent it to somebody. But so I'm just using my Close to Cocoa Stampin' Up! Ink pad. So, you know, any dye-based inks are just fine. You don't have to have the distress inks for this technique. You could use whatever. And you don't have to do these colors. You can do, if you like you know, more green, if you like more navy, whatever. Use whatever you like. All right, so that's pretty much it, but I did want to add a little bit of an accent, and I just think, I don't want to use pink, but I feel like it needs a little warmth, and like, I thought like maybe a brick red would be too bright for that, so I'm just using a marker. This is CR1 Spectrum Noir. It's just a very, very light coral. It almost is kind of like in that brick red family, but it's really light, and I'm just going in here and coloring these areas. And actually, you could color on top of embossing with the with these types of markers, but since it's so dark, the markers are transparent, you're not really going to see that. And I thought I'd add a little bit of an accent to the wings, the glasses, and the hair, or the flute, champagne flute there. So that's all there is to it. And so the reason I wanted to show this to you right now is that I just wrapped a present for my brother-in-law, and I used some scrapbook paper that was a little more manly, and then I just attached the tag with some paper raffia ribbon. So there you have it. If you're looking for the ribbon or the tag, you can find those at Paper Mart, along with lots of other goodies. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Until next time, happy crafting!